is this? What is this pitch black silk shirt you're wearing here?
So I figured we're gonna reviewing stouts. You got to be dressed up for the occasion, my friend.
It's throwing me off a little bit. I've never seen you in anything like this. Well, welcome back to Beer Brackets, everybody. Today we are putting two of probably the most recognizable stouts in America. This isn't as popular in Canada as it is in the States, but for anybody living in the U.S., you're very familiar with Left Hand Brewing Milk Stout, and you're also very familiar with Guinness Draught. So we thought, why not put these two behemoths of stouts one-on-one to see who wins in stout battle? My friend, I cannot wait. This is going to be epic, man.
And before we start, let me just show you, because you haven't had a chance to see it.
All right.
I mentioned it before the review that I have a special can.
Oh, why is it green? Is it St. Patty's version?
I think it is, my friend. And the funny thing is that when I picked up the 6-pack, because it was completely enclosed, like I had no idea. So this morning when I opened up to stock up my beer fridge and get it ready for the, for the review, I found like this nice little surprise.
We obviously have a full review of Guinness Draught on the channel. You can go back and check that out anytime you'd like. We will have a review of Left Hand Milk Stout coming up in the future, but for now, we are not worried about any of that business. We don't need to know anything about the background of this brewery. We don't need to dig that deep into it. We just need a bloodthirsty beer battle, my friend, and that is exactly what we are going to get today. I think we need to crack these open and we need to get right into it to find out which stout is coming out on top.
Let's do it.
America's stout. I love that. So wait, I got to ask you something before I pour this out, because you told me this once before, how there's like a special way to pour Left Hand, right? So do you have to do like the full vertical pour, like straight, just let it pile out of there?
So that pour, I think, was referring, if I'm not mistaken, specifically to the bottle, because
to the bottles.
Originally, at least when I first moved here, they didn't have the cans yet, or they were not, at least here in Florida. So this waitress had, she said, like, I only have the bottle. To do that, I have to pour it in a specific way. Do you want me to do this? And I was like, yeah, of course, please.
Yeah.
And it's 6%.
Exactly.
Oh, hear that nitro.
Right? 6% versus Guinness's, what is Guinness, 4.5? 4.2.
Oh, look at this.
So right off the bat, worth mentioning that the Left Hand is significantly higher in alcohol by just about 1.8%. So you're dealing with a much stronger, more flavorful stout, you'd imagine.
Look at this. It's amazing. And the aroma, wow.
I know, just the aroma of the Left Hand Brewing is so fantastic. Oh no, I knew that would happen. My Guinness exploded. It happens in like 1 out of every 3 cans, man. It just explodes. It's a problem with Guinness cans. See, that didn't happen with the Left Hand Brewing.
It's not a good sign for Guinness.
Even the Guinness guru, our friend the Guinness guru, complained about that to us one time.
He did.
How those Guinness cans are very untrustworthy. Oh my God, I got Guinness everywhere. It's a Guinness pool. All right, buddy. Aroma cheers.
Aroma cheers.
Which one
to you, my
do
friend.
You prefer? This is a big deal. Ooh.
Ooh. Wow. This is close, man.
This is really close. They're so different.
They're so different, but they're so well done. I mean, you can definitely tell they are in the same category. But what is the beauty of this is the nuances and the small differences. With the Guinness, you get like that classic roasted character that, at least I love. With the
it's iconic.
Left Hand, you have this slight chocolaty tending into really like almost like a cappuccino kind of aroma. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stick with Guinness, my friend. I just like that roastiness. I like that roastiness a little bit too much.
You know what? That roastiness of the Guinness is just so iconic. That smell is recognizable anywhere. It's not just any other Irish stout. It's not just any other nitro infused Irish stout. If you smell, it's similar. Like the Guinness aroma is so distinct. You can smell that from a mile away and know what it is that you're smelling. So it's so hard to judge against that and give something else a point. But you know what, man? That aroma of the Left Hand, a little bit of chocolate, like milk chocolate. It's obviously a milk stout, but that very distinct milk chocolate aroma. A little bit of just like, burnt edges of a cookie. I'm going to steal a line from you. I love that line that you use. It's so... I'm going to go with the left hand. I'm giving the point to the milk stout, my friend. We are tied at one through one category. The battle is on. Bring it on,
Battle
man.
is on.
All right, now the taste. Which, by the way, before we take a sip, I must say, Guinness is still the Beer Bracket's ultimate beer. This is not an official ultimate beer challenge right now because Left Hand Brewing never won a perfect score on a Beer Bracket's beer review. It might one day, but it has not yet. So this is a non-title match. It is not challenging for the ultimate beer crown. I had to mention that.
That's important. That's important. The foam, I don't know for you, but it's funny how the Guinness is way more on the white side, while almost like the left hand for me has like this almost hue of chocolate. I don't know if I'm imagining that, but
like
it's a little darker.
A beigeish chocolatey hue to it for sure. It's a little bit more brown. Yeah. But that's the iconic Guinness, right? That sort of white, fluffy head on it. Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. What do you think? I have like such strong allegiances to Guinness. This is tearing me apart here, man. But like, I don't know.
This is tough. Again, we haven't done a review of the left hand, so I don't want to get too much into details, but I will say that the taste of the left hand evolves quite a bit.
It does.
It starts with that initial sweet element, chocolatey, evolves into almost this like bitter chocolate or dark chocolate, and then it turns into this heavy roast in it that lingers.
Yeah.
It's quite complex. The taste of the Guinness obviously is iconic. We're very familiar with it, but I have to say I kind of like how this like flavor is evolving like on the left hand. I think it's going to get like the point there. The left hand is getting the point on the taste.
2-1 from the left hand. Yeah, I think Guinness is... We've described Guinness a million times on this channel, but I mean... There's not too much to it. A lot of the criticisms I've seen from, I'd say, big craft beer drinkers who dislike Guinness is the fact that it's too plain for them. They say it's kind of like a watered down version of a stout. The flavors are very muted. For me, that's kind of what's appealing about it. It's this refreshing beverage that has hints of those characters, but that you can still drink a couple of pints of, and it doesn't fatigue your palate in that sense. That's what I love so much about Guinness. The left hand on the other side, if you're just comparing 1-to-1, I don't know if I could drink more than 1 pint of left hand. But as a one-off, just one compared to one, the tastes are a lot more interesting. Like you said, milk chocolate, some dark chocolate in there as well. Definitely a roasty, bready element that's in there too. There's kind of like a sharp kick, like a burnt toast that's in there too, hidden behind the chocolate. It gives it like this layer of sort of sour bitterness that's in there on the taste as well. It's definitely more interesting. I'm going to give it to the left hand, man. It's up 3-1 over Guinness. This is unheard of. Guinness is the heavyweight champion of beer brackets. It has not lost a versus battle yet, obviously holding the ultimate beer crown. But the left hand has a 3-1 lead on it right now. You know what we got to do for the mouthfeel, though, buddy? We got to do a quick refresher.
Favorite part, the refresher, my friend. The refresher.
Beer bracket tradition. Freshen up our mouthfeels. Take a big swig. Don't get too much caught in your beard. And let me know what you think.
I'm still hearing the refresher.
You take your time. You take your beer time. It's totally fine. There's no rushing in the Beer Brackets pub, my friend. We move at our own pace.
That's why I love it.
We let the beers guide us. For me, my stouts were a little bit quicker, a little bit hastier. For you, your stouts needed some time. It's totally fine.
Guinness is that mouthfeel.
What are you thinking?
So, my friend, again, this is a tough one. I don't think we've ever been in this close of a standoff, like as far as mouthfeel.
I know.
Even with the Weihenstephaner, when we were talking and saying, like, there's this creaminess.
Yes.
The nitrogen infusion, obviously, is very difficult to beat.
True.
However, while they are similar, they are also very different. And I think that the milk stout has like a little bit more roundness, and it lingers a little bit longer on the palate. We're talking about like very small differences.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Guinness here because I like how that creaminess stays, but is not overwhelming. With the left hand, I almost feel like I'm still tasting it now. Like it's still around. Guinness for me.
100% agree. So the left hand kind of like coats your palate a little bit more, and it causes that eventual finish that we'll talk about to stick around and last, and you can feel kind of like a film in your mouth after you take a sip, which is nice. But Guinness is like so pillowy and light and foamy. Once you take a sip, it's gone. It dissipates, and it just invites you to want to go in and take another one. Definitely Guinness for me, my friend. We are tied at 3 right now between Guinness and left hand. Now we get into the finish, and the finish of these beers is where all the magic happens. So what do you think?
Taking a sip of the left hand because I wanted to.
I'm on the edge of my seat here, man. We have a tie game through 3 categories.
This is a tough one. I can definitely see how there are a lot of similarities here again.
Yeah.
Yet again, like we're here to point out what are the differences and what and why we like one more. I think the Guinness has, we've talked about this a million times, has a unique way of finishing and saying goodbye. Like it just stays there, like, and in the distance, it shows like some of the flavors that you had to begin with that invite you back. Exactly. But the left hand has all those unique flavors that evolve over time.
Yeah.
And in the finish, they represent themselves, but they're way stronger. I will say that the alcohol percentage for sure influences that. But if I have to pick, I'm still going to go with Guinness, my friend, because that roastiness and bitterness that shows off on the milk stout, like it's just like almost the only element that stays at the end for me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel the same way about it. It's like this the roastiness on the left hand just sort of, it lingers a long time. Like the chocolate fades really quickly, and then there's kind of like this sour, bitter roastiness that stays like a couple of seconds too long, in my opinion. It lingers a bit, but that's what gives it a lot of unique character. For me, that's what makes this one stand out. So point is going to Guinness. Now, as an overall beer experience, which one do you think is superior?
It's for all the intangibles, right?
All of them.
And I will say, for once, a beer that is from here, the U.S., I do have a connection to it. Like we mentioned it at the beginning, it's one of the first American stouts that I tried when I moved here, and the experience that I had there in that restaurant with the waitress that was explaining to me that there's a correct way of pouring it definitely made it like special for me. And when I think about it, it always makes that connection. However, judging on tonight and based off also some of the intangible that we have mentioned before on the channel, I think I'm going to stick with Guinness, my friend. I mean, that flavor to me is just like so incredible from beginning to end. And even if like the taste takes that point because it's more complex, the overall experience for me, it's still Guinness. What do you think?
100% agree. The left hand is a little bit more unique on the taste aspect and maybe even on the aroma. But as an overall beer experience from beginning to end, I think the Guinness is a much more rounded, much more enjoyable experience. I'm going to have to go with Guinness on this one, my friend. Even though it's a non-title match, if it was, it would keep its ultimate beer crown. Guinness is the winner in the battle of the Stouts. Ireland versus the United States. Ireland comes out on top. What an epic battle this was. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Let us know down below. Are there any other versus battles you would like to see us do? Let us know, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. But the most important thing, do not forget to close your stout beer brackets.
Never forget.